Hello, we're John and Tina, and our presentation is about light in the darkness.
What a strange year we're living through during this pandemic. Back in March, at the start of lockdown, I'm sure most of us thought we'd be over the worst of it by summer, and we were very optimistic that our youngest son and his fiancée would be celebrating their wedding in August. How wrong we were. They have had to postpone now until next summer, and we are looking forward to that. And now here we are again back in lockdown for the second time, as the number of cases of COVID increase yet again. We're beginning to worry about whether we'll be able to see our families at Christmas. Will we really have to have Christmas masses live streamed as we did for Easter? When will all this end? Where can we get some hope to sustain us through the dark times of winter? Some light in the darkness? Can we find any joy? And are we at peace with ourselves and with each other?
Well, help is not far away to sustain us through the next few weeks. Today is the first Sunday of Advent. The word Advent means coming, and during Advent, the Church looks forward towards the second coming of Christ at the end of time, and to his first coming as a child in the manger at Bethlehem. It is also a season of light, the light of Christ coming into the darkness of our world. During Advent, we will reflect upon the coming of Christ into our lives, and our Advent wreath will help us. I'm sure many of you will have your own wreaths at home at this time. And here is ours. As we light a new candle each week, the light gradually increases the nearer we get to Christmas and our celebration of his birth. The Advent wreath is full of symbolism. The wreath is circular in shape, without beginning or end, and symbolises God's complete and unending love for us. The evergreen leaves represent eternal life, which becomes ours through faith in Jesus Christ. The holly berries, the colour of blood, symbolise the blood shed by Christ for mankind. They remind us that Christ came into this world to die for us and redeem us. It is through the shedding of his blood that we have eternal life.
As well as the purely liturgical meanings and reflection each week, the Advent wreath can bring its own extra meaning for married couples, and this presentation is our own reflection on that. Let us consider the shape. The circle of the wreath reminds us of our wedding rings, the symbol of our unending love for each other. It is also a reminder that since God is love, he is there in our relationship, in the love that we have for each other and show for each other in many different ways every day. The 4 candles of the Advent wreath each have their own meaning, and these can be a reflection for us on our marriage. We experience many things throughout our lives together, good and bad. And through dialogue, we can share feelings that arise in response to these, and this in turn influences the way our marriage relationship develops and grows.
The first Sunday of Advent symbolises hope with the prophet's candle, reminding us that Jesus is coming. Our love and support for each other constantly give us hope that together we can face the future with confidence. This is very strong at the beginning of the marriage and is certainly a part of the romance phase, but it is enduring. We dialogued briefly on the question, what did I hope for when we first married? What do I hope for now? It was interesting to think about hope, especially in the early days of being married. We had discussed family before we married and knew that having children was important to both of us. And we hoped that this would work out, as you can never take these things for granted. We had planned to go to see John's mother in South Africa, and as she was not able to come to our wedding, we hoped to be able to take the first grandchild with us. We were lucky and this did happen, and it made the visit more special for all of us. John and I met as students at Liverpool University in the 1960s, and we got married in the crypt chapel of the cathedral. As you know, there are two cathedrals in Liverpool, the Catholic and the Anglican, situated at either end of Hope Street. Thinking about that now, that we got married at one end of Hope Street, that was a good omen and a good beginning for us. Full of symbolism as well, that as the two cathedrals and the two bishops have always worked closely together in a spirit of ecumenism, so too for me, a Catholic, and John, an agnostic, although brought up and confirmed in the Church of England. My hopes now are very much centred on looking after ourselves as we get older, doing our best to keep safe from COVID and hoping that a vaccine soon becomes available, wanting to help and support our grandchildren and our children, and to be able to see them at Christmas.
At the time we got married, I thought of Tina as my soulmate. I believed and hoped that we would do great things together. I felt sure we would have a family, and I was ambitious for ourselves and for our as yet unborn children. As John Lennon said, life is what happens when you're making other plans. So some of my ambitions for ourselves and our family have come true, and others have not. As for now, I think that as you get older, time and possibilities are more limited. I hope for good health and a long life for both of us, as I know we will be happy together. I'm also concerned that we're able to be part of our grandchildren's lives for as long as possible. Two of them are going to need help and support in the future. For several years, I nursed an ambition to be an author and leave something of myself behind. I wanted to finish writing up, in particular, a book called Stories of the Little Green Caravan for my children and grandchildren. This is an account of the adventures I had, aged 3 to 4, when I lived in a caravan on a farm. Now I have published this book with illustrations by Anthony, our artistically gifted middle son, as a limited private run, and sent copies out to all the family. And I hope that long after I am gone, great-grandchildren and great-great-grandchildren will read this little book.
The second Sunday of Advent symbolises faith with the Bethlehem candle, reminding us of Mary and Joseph's journey to Bethlehem. This candle can remind us of our journey through life together, with its ups and downs, but that the faith we have in each other will always sustain us, however long the journey. The evergreens also represent the victory of life through darkness and challenge. Throughout our married life, we will have had times of darkness and challenge, and it is encouraging for us to look back at those times and rejoice that the faith we have in each other has pulled us through. During this phase, we will have times of disillusionment with each other and with life. But in a healthy marriage, we will cycle back to romance. And this will probably happen many times as we progress on to the mature love of later life. So we dialogue briefly on the question, when did faith in each other help us through a time of darkness and challenge? The first thing that came to mind for me was the third year of our marriage, our anno horribilis, when our first child, Michael, was badly scalded at the age of 13 months and had to spend a month in hospital having skin grafts. I was pregnant at the time, and after a really difficult few months, we lost baby Anna, born 10 weeks early. She had only lived for 1 day. Everything in our lives had gone so well for us up until then, and now tragedy had struck. But we discovered that we could lean on each other and draw strength from each other in our darkest moments. I'm certain that it was faith in each other that kept us going. And for me, my faith in God grew deeper at this time. We've proved this time and again over our 52 years of marriage, of difficult situations have arisen. Together, we have the strength to support and buoy each other up whenever it's necessary. And I have faith that we will continue to cope with whatever comes our way in the future.
To have faith in each other is an important and crucial test of a marriage, and there have been times when we really needed that. As Tina mentioned, the difficult year we had gave us strength for the future. And when I had a difficult time at work, followed almost immediately by the death of Tina's father, that was another very difficult time. But we got through it by supporting each other. Way back when I was a young GP, I failed the Diploma in Child Health, a notoriously difficult exam, for the second time. I was so demoralised that I suggested to Tina that I should become a house husband and her career should take precedence. She must have had faith in me because she knocked the idea on the head, encouraged me, and I passed on the third attempt. It was a case of third time lucky.
The third Sunday of Advent symbolises joy with the shepherd's candle, the pink candle on our wreath, reminding us of the joy the world experienced at the birth of Jesus. For us, this candle can also remind us of the births of our own children and all the joys we have shared together throughout the years with each other and with our families and friends. Of course, there will have been many ups and downs along the way in our daily life, but it is the memories we have of all the joys that keep us going during the more difficult times. We dialogued briefly on the question, share a time of joy and remind each other how it was and what your feelings were. I thought about the time when our first grandchild, Dylan, was born, and we went up to the hospital to see him and our daughter. The feelings I had when I held him were quite overwhelming, and it brought tears of joy to my eyes. As I looked at him, what I thought was, flesh of my flesh, bone of my bones, said by Adam when God created Eve. I realised that I recognised him, this new little person, and knew he belonged to our family. I knew how much we were looking forward to his arrival, but was quite unprepared for the overwhelming emotion I felt. It was good in this dialogue to get back in touch with those feelings of immense joy.
There has been so much joy in our lives together that I'm spoilt for choice. The one that comes to mind, however, is the day in 1989 when we saw two of our sons in A Midsummer Night's Dream at their school. They played Oberon and Puck. At one point, Oberon was ticking off Puck for putting the wrong love drops in the eyes of the wrong lover. "You stupid Puck, now look what you've done," or words to that effect. Someone commented that the acting between the two of them was so natural. I said this was exactly how Anthony had been talking to his younger brother for the last 10 years. They are now the best of friends. It was such a good production, and we had all the family with us, including our parents, my favourite aunt, and an elderly lady from church we were very friendly with. It was one of the happiest days of my life, and it was 3 months before we lost Tina's father.
The fourth Sunday of Advent symbolises peace with the angel's candle, reminding us of the message of the angels, peace on earth, goodwill toward men. This candle can remind us of the importance of peace between the two of us and in our families, in our willingness to resolve any conflicts that we have, and the willingness to forgive each other for any hurts. A loving and peaceful marriage is a great sign of our sacrament and will inspire us to work for peace in the wider world. All of us are at different stages of our lives. Some, like us, married for many years with children who have left home and maybe started their own families. Or you may have very young or adolescent children. Throughout your life together, you continue getting to know each other more and more, all the good things, and even the annoying little things that make them the person you love. Whatever stage we are at, we know the importance of peace in our relationship. We're both retired now, so we have more time for each other. Our life is less hectic than when we were working, and our life is more peaceful with fewer demands on us. So finally, we dialogued on the question, as we approach Christmas, what does peace mean to me? Peace is so much more than the absence of conflict. We really have to work for peace and to maintain peace, and that is true in our marriage and family, but also in the wider world. For peace to flourish, we need understanding of the other, empathy, forgiveness, and justice. We're so lucky with our family, and everyone gets on well, and family gatherings are always happy affairs. But we know that this is not the case for everyone, and Christmas can be a very stressful time, just as lockdown has for some people. Christmas for us is usually fairly hectic and a lot of work, but it's a really happy time as everyone does their bit and the grandchildren happily spend time together. For me, spending a happy time at Christmas with the family is being at peace. This year, I think it's going to be much quieter as we probably won't be able to get all the family together. But hopefully we will see some of them and Zoom with the others. We'll do the best we can. We will enjoy the Christmas Mass, even if it still has to be live streamed, listen to the carols, and hear again the message of the angels. Peace on earth, goodwill to all people. To really make peace with each other, in our families and in the wider world, it needs a change of heart and an open mind to the other's point of view, and to take to heart the message of the angels.
On the whole, we keep the peace in this country and we prosper. That doesn't mean that there is no conflict or injustice, but there is less suffering and injustice than in many other countries, and for that we should be thankful. I think part of the reason for lack of peace in other countries is that they have a mistaken idea of honour. Historically, the highest honour was to be a powerful warrior leading a trusted band of young men who kills all his enemies, although even then it was considered dishonourable to kill unarmed women and children. Nowadays, we do see honour killings of young women in some cultures, which is very hard to understand. But Christmas is a time when we should celebrate peace on earth. Jesus has been called the Prince of Peace, and he had plenty to say about peace and peacemakers, including love your enemies, do good to those who hate you. So it seems appropriate that we celebrate peace at the same time as we celebrate his birth. In the same tradition, Nelson Mandela said, "Peace is not just the absence of conflict. Peace is the creation of an environment where all can flourish, regardless of race, colour, creed, religion, gender, class, caste, or any other social marker of difference." I do feel especially lucky that I and my family live at a time and in a place that is largely safe and peaceful, despite COVID. As Tina has said, This Christmas is probably going to be a bit different for us as a family, but I am sure we will make use of Zoom and nobody will be forgotten, especially when it comes to opening the Christmas presents.
And now we have a question for you. How will you spend Advent this year? At this present time, what is uppermost in your mind? Hope, faith, joy, or peace? Why is that? How does your answer make you feel? We wish you a blessed Advent and a
peaceful, happy Christmas.